Before I start talking about today's discussion, I want to run a bit of a hypothetical with you guys, just a little bit of a situation here. Imagine you go to McDonald's, you order yourself a 10-piece McNugget meal with fries and a drink. Now you take home said meal, you open it up, and you count 9 McNuggets in there. That in itself is a crime and must be investigated immediately. Whoever is responsible for that must be shot on sight and never allowed to work again, because that's terrible. Obviously, I'm joking about that. But for most people, it would cause maybe slight annoyance, if that. You know, it's very simple, very tiny little situation that is not very worth getting angry about anyway. But I know there are some people out there who will absolutely blow a gasket, race back to McDonald's and verbally assault the 15-year-old child that took their order at the front counter, and then proceed to blow a gasket right there in the fucking restaurant about it. I know there are some people who will do that and go to great lengths to do that. It's weird. But the moral of the story is that for some people, it might cause slight annoyance. Now, if you're a human being, that is a canon event. There is not a human being on this planet who has walked this earth that has not experienced at least slight annoyance, because, again, it is a canon event. It's not a matter of if it will happen, it's a matter of when it will happen, because it will happen. There are obviously people in your life that are going to push your buttons and pull your cock to try and piss you the fuck off. Now, the thing is with that, though, is how you deal with it. If you say, okay, whatever, ignore them and go about your business, then that is it. You ignore them and you go about your business, and nothing happens after that. Or you can really take the reins into your own hands and form your own destiny by dealing with it like a man and really just sticking it up the ass to those kinds of people, like the person today we're talking about. Because the woman I have for you today was very annoyed at her husband of 15 years and decided the best way to deal with him was to shoot him dead. That's right. This woman literally shot her husband to death because he was annoying her.
An accused murderer called 911 to report her own crime.
That's right, a Franklin County woman now behind bars after investigators say she shot and killed her own husband. WAFO 48's Aria Pons has more.
Investigators say when Sherry Klutz called 911, she told them that she felt threatened throughout the day by her husband leading up to the shooting on Sunday evening. But when investigators sat her down to question her, they say they got a different side to that story.
So a little bit of context to this clip. Yes, it is true that she shot her husband, and it is true that she is the one who called 911 on herself. But this is a wild, wild story because, one, it's unhinged. This is actual murder we're talking about with a gun. She shot him dead. And 2, the reason is even worse. Okay, I explained it before. She was annoyed with him. That is the reason why she shot him. But the question is, why was she so annoyed? The reason why she was so annoyed with her husband is because 2 weeks prior to the shooting, she had open heart surgery. And according to sources I know at least, it went well. You know, she survived and she's at home recovering and everything. So the husband, being the good man he is constantly checking up on her to make sure that his wife is still alive and surviving and thriving, because what she just went through is a big operation for most humans. So him being the good husband he is, doing those things that, you know, all husbands should do if a wife is, or someone they love is going through something like that, that annoyed her. And I'm assuming that pissed her off more than anything because she shot this guy. But here's the twist. So she took her gun from wherever she hid it at and was waiting for him to come back in so she could shoot him. But the twist is, he never came back. He sat down in a recliner and started to rest. He just sat down, put his arms up, and was like, okay, it's time to rest now. The Sabbath has come. And so she's like, well, what the fuck? I thought this guy was going to come back because he's been coming back for however many times he came back for. So what happens is she gets up from her bed or wherever she's resting at, goes and finds him, and then shoots him. So she actively goes looking for this guy so that she could put a bullet in his head. What are you talking about, brother? What? I felt like you should at least appreciate the fact that he wasn't bothering you anymore. If you were that annoyed, why didn't you tell him something? And I'm sure she tried to tell him, like, hey, stop bothering me, blah, 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 blah. But I mean, the man can't help it. He's being a good husband, making sure the wife that he's loved for 15 years is surviving and thriving so that they can move on to the next phase of life and grow even older together.
After the interview and talking to her, she was arrested and charged with murder.
Franklin County Sheriff Shannon Oliver says Klutz admitted right away that she shot and killed her husband of 15 years. It wasn't until later that she told investigators she was simply bothered by and annoyed by her husband, Timothy Klutz.
Her demeanor seemed obviously upset. You just never know what's going through someone's mind.
Sherry Klutz had open heart surgery about 2 weeks ago. She told deputies that Timothy Klutz kept coming back into her room and bothering her, so she got her gun out in case he came back. When he didn't, investigators say she went out to find him and shot him in his recliner just once.
There's a number of cases when somebody does something like this, you're actually having to track them down and find them and build the evidence based on the scene. And in this situation, she was pretty open, which, leads us to a bunch of questions, what might have been going on with her or him.
Oliver says it's normally not this cut and dry. The investigation is ongoing, even though they have someone in custody. He says this is because they need to know the history and what led up to the shooting.
We're going through those at the time, but as of right now, we've got in a call log, went back 6 years. At this point, that we can find, there was no domestic related calls there.
Klutz hasn't had an initial appearance with a judge, so she's still behind bars with no bond.
Now, of course, that is another angle that we have to take into consideration, the domestic part and previous history between the two of them. But obviously, based on this person speaking here, who is the sheriff of that city or county or whatever, has explained that there has been no history of domestic violence between both of them, no violent tendencies or problems. Now, I'm sure every husband and wife have their marital issues. That's gonna happen eventually, but no serious problems where the cops need to be called and someone needs to go to jail for the night for domestic violence. Nothing like that. And again, it was a very cut and dry case. Like the guy said, it's not like this happens every day where somebody's gonna murder somebody in cold blood and call the cops and say, hey man, it's me, I did it, take me away, it's over. It's not very often people will do that. So that's why it's so strange. There has to be something else going on here, or maybe she's just tired of living with her husband and thought, fuck it, we'll do it live. This is the best way to do it. I don't care what happens, just get him out of my life forever. And if that's the case, then she did a pretty good job, I'd say. It's unfortunate though, because this guy also is just an innocent bystander, dude. Like, this guy was nothing short of a good husband. And she just, I don't know. I don't understand what was running through her mind, dude. I get annoyed by my mom all the time, dude, but I don't ever want to put a bullet in her head for it. And I know because she's just being a good mom. She's, eat your vegetables, son. Don't do that, son. Don't put your finger in that electrical socket, son. You'll die. I'm like, okay, ma, I won't do that. But yeah, sometimes she'll get on my nerves, dude. Like the customers at work, they'll get on my nerves. But again, I don't want to put my fucking fist through their face for it, It is what it is. I get over it, they get over it, and we go our separate ways and we see each other again someday. That's just the point. I literally can't understand other than the fact that she was annoyed on why she did it. Who knows? Obviously, the motive, we know, she was just very annoyed. That's why she did it. So she made this super easy for the cops. Like this is like a game on very easy mode here. They had a real cut and dry scenario here. Killer turned herself in and explained why she did it. That's it. It's just such a strange situation here. And it's sad, too. It's sad because someone is actually gone forever now. 60 years old, 65 isn't necessarily super old. Like, it's getting up there in age and everything, but like, it's not necessarily super duper fossilized old. Like, it's not. So it's a shame that someone was lost in the midst of this. But when I first looked at this, I couldn't help but laugh at the headline. Because who in their right mind does that, dude? Nobody. That's who. Because who in their right mind is gonna shoot somebody dead because they're annoyed with them? Nobody in their right mind would do that, dude. So clearly she wasn't. But anyways, if you watched this video all the way through, thank you. You guys are awesome. And I hope to see you in the next one.